Hello, EnderSword here again. I was just playing around with this StarCraft 2 master thing and thought it was pretty neat. I actually beat the whole thing and got the achievements and stuff, thinking that maybe it would save a replay and I could do a little video off that showing people how to do each one, but unfortunately no replays or anything like that are saved for it. So I guess I'm going to do each one and then try and cut the video up or whatever. I'm obviously going to fail a bunch of times at some, but I'll just show the ones that worked. I'm just kind of waiting for the GOM TV or GSL site to hopefully come back online. It's supposed to be the night of the finals, but there are none right now. So I figured I might as well get started on this since most people will be doing it in the next day or two, I guess. A lot of the first ones are really simple. So I'll just kind of go over basically what you need to do. This first one, kind of super easy, just a matter of microing around. It's really just a matter of keeping the zealot, making sure that you're closer to the zealot than the guy firing in the middle. That's really all you need to do for it. This is not going to work in a real game or anything like that, but against computer AI, obviously that's the way to go. There's level 1. That's going to make this one. By the way, my micro is not going to be absolutely pro or anything like that, but these are just basically how to do it. Something like this, you could probably do it faster if you're better at taking corners or you want to micro these a little more individually, but very easy way to do it. You just kind of stay ahead. Well, everyone's going to know this one. Some of them have a bit more of a trick to it, but this one kind of doesn't. You just stay ahead and don't get hit. And for those of you, I guess, that don't know stutter step, I'm just kind of assuming that people do know the concept. I'm just kind of clicking a point away, and at some point I'm just clicking stop, and then they turn around and shoot. For a unit like Stalkers, they have a little bit of warm-up time to their weapons, so you can't just click stop and then immediately, or what'll happen is that they'll kind of turn and they won't actually fire. So you need to stop and let them have like half a second to actually do it, or it won't work. But I doubt anyone's going to be confused about that one. With a lot of these, I just don't like where they put you visually to begin with, because that's just kind of annoying. So there, you just kind of back up into the choke, go on kind of a hold position, and just make sure that you've kind of got this wall going so that the Zerg doesn't surround you. Once I had that set up, I just kind of took my a little better. Will I get it? That's probably too close, but sure. Close enough. That's really it. Just kind of click on one to the other. I didn't have much success like actually trying to move the Hydras. They're just too slow on dirt. Zealots are much faster, so it ends up being counterproductive. This one, I think, is just basic pole micro, you call it. So we go, and as that guy gets hurt, I'm going to pull him away. The spine crawler switches targets, and then I put him back. It doesn't actually switch back. You can actually do that. The first time I did it, you can save both stalkers. I'll get him coming back up. That one's got a lot of room for air in it, frankly, because that wasn't perfect. Colossus 1. Colossus 1, you just kind of go up and down. Colossus 1. Colossus 1, you just kind of go up and down the cliff. Not much to this. Again, it's a form of kind of stutter step. Colossus has a lot of hit points anyway, so again, it's something that just kind of has a lot of room for air in it. You'll find it easier if they kind of don't get split up. You can just kind of stutter step your way around. And like I said, you can actually take a few hits. There's no real harm to it. And again, like I said, a lot of room for error on that one. You don't really need to be too tricky. It just gets used to. This one, of course, is based on blinking, and it's called Safe Zone precisely because there actually is that. There is a tiny sliver of space between the two tanks that you can actually position yourself, and in that position, you actually can't be fired on by either tank. So we just kind of come close, blink into that position. I did a video a few months ago all about blink, and they will actually blink in formation. So I line them up like that, blink forward, and they occupy that little space. It is a little picky, so you may have to try it a couple times. There's only kind of a couple millimeters there, but that's basically how you do that one. Alright, so this is the Whack-A-Roach one. This one's actually kind of fun. And in order to beat the round itself, you have to do it in 1 minute and 10 seconds, but there is an achievement to do it in 45 seconds, so you have to be a little more efficient for that, so that's what I'll try and show you. Wait until that gets in the red, and we burrow it, but pop it right back up immediately. Wait until this gets in the red, burrow both, pop them back up immediately. Wait until the thing's burning, all three in the red. Let it burn down while we are regenerating our health. Once it is burned down, just focus fire everything. And complete it in 42.4 seconds. So you can even do it a tiny bit faster than that, but you only need 45 for the achievement. So that's how you do it. Alright, this one, ramp control, actually pretty easy. You just have to kind of start with some initial control. I start by kind of highlighting everything, pulling it away while force fielding the ramp, attacking in. If you let them attack too close, then what happens is the roaches can actually attack just right up the ramp like that, and you don't want that at all. Kind of want to focus down one at a time. Again, not perfect here, but there's no achievement linked to this one. You can kind of do it however you want. And there you go. Okay, round 11 is Storm and Run. Here it's all about dropping the storm slightly ahead of the Marines, making sure they actually stay in this formation. In other words, they can't actually get close enough to you that they start to fire, or it's not going to work. That's it. The key is always moving away. Don't let them fire, or they're going to spread out outside the range of the storm, and it's not going to work for you. So this one, friendly fire, all about throwing down those infested Terrans and doing some damage with them. You drop them into little nooks between the Marines so that you do cause collateral damage on the Marines, and obviously you want them to end up killing everything. your infested Terran ends up taking down the final tank. And that's it. It's very picky on the exact location, so it may take a few tries to get that one. Hold position, another one that is basically exactly like it sounds. These zealots, Frank, they're done for, so just forget about them. What we're going to be focusing on is the cannon and the probes. We start with the cannon selected. Go there, hold position. I'm going to try and fill. Yeah, it lets me. And we've got a perfect circle right around the entire cannon. One wing is kind of attacking through. Once you're close enough, you can just attack with the rest of the probes. So on round 14 here, it's all about just setting up a decent force field wall for your range stuff to hide in, while the zealots kind of limit their surface area and do a lot of the damage to the lings. So it's just kind of about setting up that arc, making sure those zealots are restricting what is coming in. You're not taking damage on your sentries, not taking damage on your stalkers. And ultimately the zealots are pretty much just surrounding those ranged units. You don't really have to do it perfect on this challenge. Yeah, there's plenty there to take things out. It's really just about protecting things in the middle. The zealots can kind of deal with themselves. So in round 15 here, the key to the entire thing is the idea that massive units can crush force fields. They can just make them disappear, and the Archon counts as a massive unit. So the first thing that we're going to do when we join this is make these into an Archon. But not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to make it there, because while the thing is actually morphing, it counts. So even though it's not actually done yet, it counts as a massive unit even while it is still morphing in. So you can just break the force fields completely right away and just kind of run through everything. When it is morphing in, your other units can actually push it around. So that's why I moved the two High Templar up front, and then the Zealots actually shoved it into where the force fields were going to be, and it was able to break it. So on round 16 here, obviously we're focusing on fungal growth, but we also need a couple of infested Terrans from the infestors as well, and they have to be allocated in a way that uses their energy efficiently. So we're going to put 2 on this side and 2 on this side in order for the AI to divide it up equally between the infestors. It'll take the energy from the closest one to where we actually drop it, so you don't have to change targets or anything. Accidentally ended up with one few there, but we're going to end up winning anyway, so that's fine. Ideally, you're supposed to have 2 on each side, misclicked a little bit, but you can see you can get it done obviously with 3 there, and you can actually even get it done with less if you micro the infestors around and distract the zealots from actually attacking the infested Terrans themselves. This one is surprisingly simple, but I think it's just there to teach people this ability if they don't know it exists. There's a such thing as mineral walking. So your any worker unit, if you click directly on a mineral patch, will just walk through anything in the way except for buildings. So it will walk through any other unit, and then we're gonna run home to the little beacon. So as soon as the thing goes, we're just gonna get the hell out of there by clicking on one of the minerals, and once we're free, I'm just gonna micro around until I'm to the green spot, and that's all there is to that one, just to teach people that that trick does in fact exist. On to stim micro here. Everyone's kind of seen this, just stutter stepping with a marine stemmed up. Remember, it's going to take 10 of your health, so you can do it up to 4 times, provided that you don't get hit by the zealot. So don't overstim, but basically you do need almost all of it, certainly to be able to win this, or at least comfortably, depending on what your micro is like in stutter stepping. And you can definitely do this whole thing without actually getting hit by a zealot. You'll see some people do much more frequent stutter stepping, and they're a little more fluent with it. I don't actually play Terran very much myself. It's probably my least played of all 3. Just be aware of when your stim's about to run out so that you're not too close to the zealot at that time. But again, it's just a matter of staying ahead, which you can do with relative ease, and you don't even really have to get hit in that, so that shouldn't be too hard. This one with the Void Ray is just another one I think they put in to make people aware of one of the features of the Void Ray, which is that its weapon charges up over time. So what we're going to do is actually attack our own structure. I think that's what they're trying to demonstrate. You can click attack and actually attack your own structure. You can attack your own units, whatever, until we've got a fully charged beam. With the fully charged beam, we then attack the thing that we actually want to, and the Void Ray should come out with about 10 hit points, I think. Yeah. And that's the way it is. So you can charge that off of pylons, your own units, your own buildings. You can charge it on rocks, whatever you want. So in challenge number 20 here, no enemy units at all. They just kind of want to show you this movement with the blink stalkers, that you can shift to a location, shift queue up your blink, and then even continue with another movement after that. So we're going to be shift clicking the location that we want to go here, queuing up that blink, and then ultimately ending up where we want to be in this little weird beacon thing, and that's it. So it was just a matter of shift clicking to here, holding down shift while blinking up top, and then taking your hand off blink while still holding down shift, and right clicking to the place that you ultimately want it to be. So around 21 here, the key to this one is really the ability to tell individual units to hold position in various locations, and the fact that you can actually queue up the hold position command. So you can tell it to go somewhere and shift click the hold position command, and then when it gets to that location, it will stay in that location. So that's really the key to this. When we initiate this round, I'm going to tell everything to hold position. Then I'm going to take this control group and send it way back to the bottom. While this one stays in position, I'll split that one off and start splitting individual ones off, each with the instruction queued up that they're going to hold position wherever I put them. That way they're not going to try and run back together and get hit by the same banelings. We want everything to be hit separately.
Our meditation is over. We stand as commanded.
And we can see by splitting them all off like that, we end up with that going on by just kind of leaving one at the top, pulling one aside, sending another 5 back to the beginning, and then splitting off individual ones, each time giving a location and shift, hold position, shift, hold position, shift, hold position. They all stayed where they were. We did end up with 2 near the bottom that got some overlap, but it's enough that that this one does come out alive. So what we're going to be doing on this one is basically separating these into 2 different control groups. Then as the fight starts, we're going to actually pull the lings just to one side. and then simply actually move command goes into the enemy army. That should actually leave us with enough lings to take it away. By not actually sending the Banelings in on an attack command, it somewhat screws up the AI on the other side, and they're kind of coming right for you. So when they try and engage with their lings and their Banelings, they're in too close quarters. They're trying to get over to this side towards yours, and everything just bunches together, and you do just come out ahead on that. Round 23 here is a pretty good use of the tab key. You can either have these set on different control groups, or you can just have them together as one, and we're just going to tab between the different abilities. We're going to EMP both of the Banshees, and then just hit stim on the Marines and focus each one of them down. So try and just EMP underneath where you think the Banshee is going to be. It will disrupt the cloak that the Banshee has, and then we're just going to stim and kill them. And that's about it. You can get away with that with a few more Marines left, but it doesn't really matter. There's no achievement. All right, on round 24 here, we're obviously going to be dealing with Blink Stalkers, which to me is one of the most fun parts of the game. There is an achievement for this one. If you can actually keep all your Stalkers alive, then you do get the achievement for that. So what I'm going to be doing with that in mind is trying to focus down the front Roach and then blinking in a patterned way away from the Roaches, so that I can control what's going to be hit next, and I don't end up with a situation where a deep in the red without its blink refreshed Stalker is actually in front at any point, so that I keep them all firing and we move it along. So we'll see if this goes okay. And you can see what I was doing there by layering them to this side. I was always making sure that the one with its blink refreshed was going to be in front when the Roaches came in that direction, so that the first one that I blinked, so out of the 6 Stalkers, the first one I blinked was then the 7th one to get attacked. And then the second one I blinked was the 8th one to get attacked again, so that I was always in control of what was going to happen, and I didn't end up blinking over an orange one that had 10 seconds left before it could blink again, and it was very low in health. So that's the key to that one, because obviously these are very damaged. By the end of that, you're going through 8 Roaches, and so get that focus fire off on the start, take out that lead guy, and get them blinked back in a way that you're controlling that fight in a very systematic way, and that's the way to get it done. So on this one, round 25, they call it micro insanity, but it's actually not really all that insane. You're fighting against the clock a little bit, but you can actually get this done without really doing more than one thing at any given time. The key is you're going to start by hold positioning everything. We're going to send the High Templar in to feed back both of these point defense drones, then send the Phoenix around to pick off the 2 Vikings. This can all be done sequentially, just one after the other. The Phoenix will then just pick up the 2 tanks while the rest of your army charges in and kills what's there without taking a lot of damage or anything like that. So we'll see how it plays out here, and it's actually not as hectic as you might think. So everything gets held, these go up, gear them back, merge it together, Phoenix go out, pull them away so that only one Viking gets to fire. start coming in, and then I'm going to lift up both the tanks. Focus one of the tanks down. I can pick up the others if I feel like it. Doesn't really matter at this point. And it's done. So in each of those things really was only kind of doing one thing at a time. I wasn't trying to simultaneously do everything, charge in at once, whatever. You were kind of doing it bit by bit. So just take it piece by piece and you will get it done. Round 26 here, Scorched Earth. This is basically just predicated on the idea that your tanks can attack any target and they'll do splash damage around it. So we're going to have a DT in. We're going to try and look at the blur and anticipate the blur that's coming in and decide where to actually be firing next. So we're going to be holding that attack button and clicking on the SCV where we think the DT is about to actually strike. And that's about it. You can actually do that in less shots, but you've got a lot of leeway. One tank can even attack the other tank and get about 2 shots off before the thing kills it. So there's a lot of room in that one. So on this one, round 27, it's all about getting into a nice little pattern with the Banshee, just kind of getting into a rhythm where it's going to be turn and fire at preferably the same Marine over and over, and pick them off kind of one by one. By going a little more linear down the map, kind of using really all the space that we have available, we can kind of try and keep the same Marine up in front and not really let them change formation like there. Basically, as they go near the rocks or certain choke points, they're going to want to change formation and put another guy in front, but we want to try and keep them in the same little pattern. So if you have to, just let them string out. It's obviously easier when they're in single file, and remember that there is no time limit on this particular one, so just do whatever you have to do. If you're less comfortable with one of the sides, for instance, I kind of don't like that side coming down. I got this. Can do. You can just kind of move around. I did that with 2 left, so just barely, but that's basically it. Remember that when the Banshee is turning around to fire, before it's actually fired, it's already decided which one it's going to fire at. So the problem with doing it right as the troops are coming around the corner is the one that you're going to fire at can end up being not the one in front anymore. So some of the other Marines will come forward, and then you end up with 2 or 3 firing you at the same time, whereas if you can kind of string them out so that there's always one in front and it's not going to change, then if you get hit, you're only going to get hit by that one guy, not by the group of them. So watch it around corners and just try and stay ahead. That one does take some practice though.
Give me the sit rep. You're on. Yes, sir.
So the key to that one, which I did do a few times, is why I didn't talk at the start of it. Basically, you are grabbing the entire forest, bringing it back into the side of the wall. Then I was going 2 rounds of the Baneling, so 3 come, then 3 come, tabbing over, hitting stim on the Marines so that they could better deal with the Zerglings that are coming in, tabbing back to the Ghosts, and then continuing to snipe all the Banelings. Basically, if you get hit really even by one of those banelings or have it kill itself too close to you or snipe it too close to you, it still explodes, so you might as well just start over. That one is kind of hard, even just in demonstrating this. It actually took me 12 tries to do that, but it's just kind of practice makes perfect, most precision sort of thing. So round 29, a lot of people are actually going to have trouble with this one, and I can tell this is one that people are going to be looking up online to see how to solve. There actually is a pretty easy way to do it, and it is this. We're control grouping the two on the ends together because those are the ones that the zealots are going to initially come after. Then we're going to merge them together in the middle, right on go, and then try and make sure that the zealots are never closer to the one in the middle than they are to the two that they're chasing here. So you try and actually do a fairly wide circle around the guy in the middle.
Got it. Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
And all of a sudden,
Sure
the
thing.
entire thing turns into the exact same sort of
Outstanding.
basic micro as we had in one of the lot earlier levels.
Of course.
And
Can't wait.
huzzah. So very kind of cheatery, but it just exploits the AI, and so you just make sure that you click those right together and then run straight through the middle, then get them far away from the one that's actually shooting at them as you continue.
Now what? Watch your step. Strap in. Watch your step. Strap in.
So basically there, the idea is to be picking up the tank, dropping it. Obviously, everyone knows that. The key is the rhythm to it. You want as many shots to be missing the tank, so you kind of want to be distributing shots between, very few people are going to be good enough to actually be able to pick up and drop in between every stalker fire. So you want to split the fire between the misses on the tank and the hits on the medevac, so that the medevac stays alive to the last possible moment, but then is dropping a completely full health tank against two of the stalkers on the ground, and then you're going to win that fight. So that one does take a lot of practice, even just demonstrating it here. I had to do that 8 times before I actually did it, so I'm certainly not super pro at that, but that is basically the timing. It's that and the way that I'm doing it hotkey wise, so at the start of the round, I'm actually putting the medevac on hold position. So the very first thing I hit is hold position, and then I'm holding down the load button, clicking on the tank, and then on the medevac, I am clicking on the portrait to drop. Some other people prefer to do the D button to drop on the medevac itself. I like the portrait thing, just I get into this sort of rhythm here, and I'm watching the stalkers, and I find it harder, I guess, to click like this. It's maybe a little more precise than I like. I find the tank and the portrait bigger, but there's 3 or 4 ways to go about that. That one does work for me. So that is StarCraft Master. That shows you how to do everything, plus do all the achievements, and at least get her done. So I hope you all had fun with that little game. It is a pretty neat one. I hope Blizzard actually adds more levels to this or more achievements to this. There's a lot of ways to go with it. Thanks for watching, guys, and have fun.